Welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurs in Fuego. We're documenting the journey of incredible entrepreneurs, one digital footprint at a time. I said digital footprint for a specific reason. John Diana, page one editor of the AZ Republic. How you doing, John?
Doing great. How are you?
We're doing just fine. As you can see, we're just having a ton of fun here at Entrepreneurs in Fuego. Mm-hmm. And this is about documenting the journey of entrepreneurs all throughout the Valley. And you teach, in addition to being a page one editor, you teach a class about entrepreneurship and journalism. Explain that.
Yeah, it's a growing need in our industry, which is going through tremendous upheaval. You know, the internet was a huge disruptor, and news companies all over America and all over the world, for that matter, are trying to figure out, you know, how we go forward. And so the Cronkite School at ASU has courses where we train young journalists in some of the skills of entrepreneurship. And I just wrapped up a class that was really cool, where the students had to pitch their own entrepreneurial ideas in front of a guest panel that included the Gannett corporate head of innovation and an individual from the Knight Foundation. And so they had to actually do like Shark Tank and pitch their ideas. And
that's cool.
At least one of them, I think, is going to be commercially viable, which was really cool. So for most of these guys, it was their first time at entrepreneurship, at their first stab at it, and some of them really got a taste for it.
That's pretty cool. As a student, if I were to be taking a journalism class, Journalism 101, my first question would be to somebody like you, who is my master?
That's a good question these days. You know, there's a lot of different roads you can go down. You can be a freelance journalist where you're your own master, or you can work like I do for a major organization. I work for the largest media company in America, Gannett. We own over 100 properties across the country, as well as some in the UK. So there's a lot of different avenues. You know, we frequently talk about entrepreneurship versus intrapreneurship.
Sure.
I think working for a major corporation, you know, you would be more in that intrapreneur mold. I think, you know, when people talk definitions of intrapreneurs, it's usually discussed as being without the risk. But I would argue that, you know, if you pitch something and the company puts a lot of money to it and it doesn't work, there may be a little risk there. So, you know, sometimes you're just it's not personal risk, but still.
But I get it, because the next time around when you raise your hand to write a story, they're going to go, I don't know. Yeah. We'll let you pass for right now, and we're going to go back to you maybe some months from now.
We're talking, you know, more than just stories, and every story really is an entrepreneurial idea. You know, you come up with it, you use your creativity, you use your research skills, you use all of the tools in your toolbox. But going beyond that, you know, we're trying to come up with new ways to attract audiences. We're trying to come up with new apps. Right now, there's a big push on virtual reality.
Sure.
The Guardian newspaper just did a fantastic piece called 6x9, which actually put you through virtual reality in a 6-foot by 9-foot cell, and the goal was to highlight the problem of solitary confinement and the issue of solitary confinement. So there's really incredible. The mission of journalism, I think, is always going to be the same. It's to bring critical analysis and storytelling and, you know, information gathering so that people can make more intelligent decisions about their democracy and the places that they live. The tools are changing, though, and so we're trying to adapt to the technology. We're trying to adapt to different platforms so that we can give people news, storytelling, where they want it and when they want it. And it's not always you know, traditional ink on paper or even pixels on a screen. We started something about 4 or 5 years ago at the Arizona Republic with AZ storytellers. And this is a night where people get up in front of a live audience and tell their stories. And it's not just journalists, although a lot of us have done storyteller nights. But this storytelling night started as kind of a cool thing to do, a way to build community. And now it's its own business unit because there's ways to generate revenue through it. And it's really starting to take off. And what we've done here in Phoenix, largely through the work of my colleague Megan Finnerty, is being repeated in cities around the country. There's storytellers in Cincinnati and Des Moines, and so Megan is now working for corporate, doing storytelling and teaching other markets how to put on these storytelling nights.
This is what's cool about it. I think that the realization that the art of storytelling, which can be traced back to paleontological times, it's been there forever. That's how we communicated our stories, our history, our culture. Mm-hmm. That's how we bequeathed our, from our grandfathers to the sons, to their own sons. That's how we told what was happening. That's how we got history. Mm-hmm. And now with the digital platforms, we certainly can sit around this digital campfire and listen to your story.
Yeah. Yeah,
so that's incredibly, that's really cool.
And it's really cool. And when I first got into the business, when I was in college, we typed on typewriters, we had glue pots or paste pots, and we literally cut and pasted our copy. And that's how old I am. But
electric 3, is that the way?
I had a manual. But yeah, we graduated to electric 3. And the technology has changed, right. And it's changed a lot about what we do. But again, it hasn't really changed our core mission, and our core mission, is to build a stronger democracy.
Would you agree? I wrote an article, and I'm not anywhere near as an incredible writer as you are. In fact, you remind me a lot of one of my favorite writers, Nelson DeMille, because you're so caustic in your writing and so precise and right on it. And so you have to be inside your mind to kind of read what your mind is really thinking and what your perception of the world is, which is pretty much parallel to mine, because there's a lot of things out there that just the little things, right? Observational analysis, mm-hmm. kind of a Seinfeld type of perception of how the world runs and whatnot, and you have that. I've read some of the stuff.
Thank you.
But would you agree that you, the media in general, as the fourth state, do you believe that there is a fifth or even a sixth state called now our video cameras, that we're capturing events as they're happening, mm-hmm. without really knowing what we're doing? And it's shaky, and it's natural, and it's organic, and it's raw.
For me, the watershed moment came, I had a reporter who was really on the front end of technology, and he comes in one day, this is 10 or 12 years ago, and he's got this flip phone that has a camera on it. And I'm like, why the heck would anybody want a camera on their phone? And I didn't get it. Well, fast forward about a year and a half, and it was I believe it was the July 7th bombing in London. And then all of a sudden, all of the information we're getting is from people who shot this, citizens who shot this on camera phones. So, the power of the citizen journalist is very much there, and now we all have a platform, and we can build our own website, we can create our own blog, go to WordPress, and, it's very powerful.
And dangerous.
Because
we could be writing a lot of the fake stuff and making things up that
But at the core of what we do as journalists is seek the truth, and not everybody has that same motivation. And it'll be up, I think, up to the marketplace to eventually sort that out. If I can give a shout out to some of my colleagues, we just did a big investigation that showed $100 million worth of waste. It's going to publish this Sunday. $100 million of wasted taxpayer money spent up on the Navajo reservation to provide housing. Navajos still don't have adequate housing, and it's been a massive failure of the system. And so I think that's the power that a big organization can still bring to the table. So,
and that we will watch for that story, and it reminds me a little bit of the Michigan water crisis as well, the lead water crisis. That had it not been for Rachel Maddow, who was after it, it's a story that would have died, and it's still not resolved. It's just I can't understand why those things don't get resolved, even with the power of the fourth state presenting in a very glaring light what the problems and what the issues are.
Yeah, it's you know, and it's frustrating. Sometimes we do a big investigation and it doesn't get any reaction. But you know, we go back to the drawing board. We do it again. Maybe we improve our storytelling. Maybe we didn't tell the story as well as we could have to get a good reaction from it. But
we're becoming a 6-second attention span society, John. So I don't think it's the story itself. I think it's us as the public who have a responsibility to identify those stories that are impactful, that will affect our neighbors, our societies, our communities, and therefore, I don't want to call it activism, but certainly the awareness that we have to bring about is our responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
John Diana, man. And you're a fourth degree karate and all that stuff, too, right?
Yeah.
You know, we didn't even get to that.
We didn't even get to that.
And again, thank you so much. I appreciate you being
Thank
here.
you.
With that, we're out.